There are mornings when the silence feels different, when something inside you knows it's time, not for chaos, not for chasing, but for returning. That's what the ancient path teaches. In the Shaolin temple, every sunrise is sacred, not because the sky changes, but because you do. You rise not just from your bed, but from the ashes of yesterday. In the West, people often think of monks as calm because life is easy for them. But let me tell you something that's rarely spoken. The mind of a monk is not always still. It is trained to return, again and again. That's the real discipline. The first hour of your day is powerful, but not in the way you think. It's not about productivity hacks or dopamine boosts. It's about direction. Because if your thoughts go unchecked, even the strongest body loses purpose. That's why ancient warriors started their days not with weapons, but with breath, posture, and words. Words carry energy. When spoken with awareness, they don't just motivate, they program, they build, and they remind the soul who it really is. In this video, I will share 12 powerful things you must tell yourself every morning. Not quotes, not affirmations, but practices of the inner path, rooted in Shaolin, refined through experience and forgotten by most. These are the phrases that kept monks grounded during famine, invasions, and years of silent retreat. These are the words that shape not just how you feel, but how you move in this world. If you stay till the end, you won't just learn what to say, you'll understand why it matters. Welcome to the Shaolin Soulfire. This is not a channel, it's a path. Subscribe and begin again. There was a time I thought freedom meant doing whatever I wanted. No schedule, no rules, just flow. But that kind of freedom becomes a trap, because when you follow every impulse, you don't move forward, you spin in circles. In the temple, the bell rings at the same time every morning, not as punishment, but as a compass. It tells the body, the mind, the spirit, wake up, align, begin. People outside often ask, isn't that too strict? They see the early hours, the repetition, the silence, and they assume it's suffering. But here's what they miss. Discipline is not suppression, it's selection. You're not forced, you choose. You choose to direct your life instead of being dragged by it. Shaolin training doesn't begin with high kicks or flying moves. It begins with how you clean your bowl, how you fold your robe, how you breathe when no one's watching. These small things create rhythm, and rhythm becomes power. Without structure, your energy leaks. You think too much. You start things and don't finish. You avoid the hard things and chase the easy ones. But with discipline, something changes. You become calm, not because life gets easier, but because you become clearer. Each habit is a message to yourself. When you rise early, you say, my path matters. When you train, you say, my body is sacred. When you stay consistent, even when no one sees it, you say, I am trustworthy. This isn't cruelty, it's care. This is how a warrior prays, through order, through focus, through repetition, not to impress others, but to sharpen the self, to stay steady while the world shakes. A thought moves faster than the body. Before a hand strikes, before a foot steps, there's intention, invisible but powerful. This is where mastery begins. In the temple, we don't just train the body, that comes later. First we observe the mind, like watching water settle in a glass. You wait, you don't stir it, you just look. And in that stillness, you begin to see the patterns, the fears that shout, the doubts that whisper, the anger that hides under control. Most people live by reaction. A thought comes and they believe it. A feeling rises and they follow it. But this is not freedom. This is being ruled by shadows. The monks have a saying, one thought, one cut, like a sword strike. If your thought is scattered, the movement will be weak. But if your mind is sharp, the body follows with precision. That's why we train the mind as seriously as we train the fist. Not by force, by discipline. You see a thought and you ask, is this true? Is this helpful? Does this move me forward or pull me back? Over time, thinking becomes like form practice. You refine it, cut what's sloppy, repeat what's clean. You learn to stand still in chaos, to act without panic, to feel without drowning. This is what kata teaches, not just movement, but presence. You can practice the same motion 1,000 times, but each time it reveals something new, just like the mind. So don't believe every thought that passes through. Don't obey every voice in your head. Train them, sharpen them. Make your mind a quiet place so your body can move with certainty, not confusion. That's the beginning of inner mastery, where the fight ends before it even begins. In the quiet halls of the temple, breath is the first teacher. Before the body learns to move, before the fists learn to strike, you learn how to breathe. Not just to stay alive, but to become awake. Because in Shaolin, breath isn't just air, it's awareness. It's your anchor in a drifting world. There's a lesson taught early in training: control the breath and the mind follows. But here's the deeper truth: they are not separate. When your breath is shallow, your thoughts are scattered. When your breath is steady, your mind returns to stillness. In moments of pressure, when the noise gets loud, when thoughts race, when emotions flare, the average person fights the storm. But the monk returns to breath. One inhale, one exhale. No panic, no resistance, just presence. You don't need to fix the chaos. You don't need to outrun it. Just stand inside it and breathe. There was a monk who trained for years, not to master a form, but to master silence through breath. People thought he wasted time, but in the end, he could walk into battle without fear. Not because he was stronger, but because nothing could pull him from his center. That's the power of one full breath. It brings you back to your body, to the moment, to the ground beneath your feet. Most people live in fragments, mind in the future, heart in the past, but the breath only lives here, now. That's why it's sacred. So next time your mind starts to spin, don't fight it, don't feed it, just breathe, gently, deeply, slowly. Let the world swirl if it must. You stay still. There's a moment between the strike and the response, a space so small it's easy to miss. But this is where the true warrior lives. Not in reaction, in awareness. In the old days, warriors trained not just for speed, but for stillness under threat. When the blade came close, they didn't flinch, they watched, they waited. And when the time was right, they moved, not out of fear, but out of choice. Most people don't live that way. They're pulled by noise, triggered by emotion, pushed into motion by habit. Someone says a sharp word and they bite back. A plan fails and they collapse into anger or doubt. But the path of mastery asks for something harder: to pause, to feel everything and yet not be ruled by any of it. This is what makes a warrior different from a fighter. A fighter swings because he's cornered. A warrior steps forward because he's clear. You don't need to shut down your emotions, they're part of you. But you don't need to be dragged by them either. The practice is to feel fully, without being consumed. To observe your rising anger, your fear, your pride, and hold steady. It's not suppression, it's discipline. The storm may rise inside you, but you don't have to become it. You can watch it pass. Stillness is not inaction. It's power contained. It's knowing when to strike and when to remain quiet. So when the world pushes you, don't flinch, don't lash out. Pause, breathe, feel the space inside you expand. Then move, not to survive, but to lead. Not to win, but to align. That's the difference. That's the way. The mind is like a fire. Whatever you feed it grows. Whatever you neglect fades. In the temple, this truth is taught through the simplest practice: sweeping the floor. Every morning, grain by grain, dust is cleared, not just from the stone, but from the mind. If the eyes only see what's missing, what's broken, what's wrong, that becomes the world you live in. But if you train your gaze on stillness, on presence, on what is quietly working, you begin to change from within. Where attention goes, energy follows. It sounds simple, but most people spend their days feeding distractions, constant noise, endless scrolling, comparison, worry, and then they wonder why they feel fractured, anxious, lost. You can't water weeds and expect flowers. Focus is a sacred act. It is a decision about what matters. In ancient practice, monks would meditate by watching a single candle flame, not because the flame had answers, but because the act of staying with it, through boredom, through wandering, through restlessness, that built the muscle of presence. You don't need to control everything, but you must choose what you face. Look at chaos long enough and you will carry it, but turn toward peace, even if it's quiet, even if it's small, and you give it room to grow. Energy is not infinite. Where you place your inner light each day shapes who you become. So be intentional. Notice what drains you. Protect what restores you. This is not escape. It is alignment. A warrior does not waste vision on what he cannot change. He directs it inward, sharp, clear, focused, like the tip of a spear. Because in the end, you don't become what you want. You become what you pay attention to. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the way you stand when no one is watching. In the monastery, posture is not cosmetic. It is character made visible. Spine upright, chin soft, shoulders relaxed, not collapsed. The body becomes a statement. I am awake. I am here. There's a teaching. The mind follows the body, and the body follows the mind. If your thoughts are scattered, your posture sinks. If your posture collapses, your thoughts dim. So we train both together. Sit as if the earth is holding you up. Walk as if every step is deliberate. Bow with sincerity. Rise with calm. A monk doesn't need to announce discipline. You can see it in how he moves through a doorway, how he places a cup on the table, how he breathes when someone challenges him. Quiet strength isn't loud. It's precise. It's consistent. It's felt. When you hold your spine upright, you are not pretending to be strong. You are remembering. You are aligning the body with the truth the mind already knows. Dignity is a practice. Presence has a shape. Integrity has a form. Notice how your mood shifts when you slump. Notice how doubt grows when your head hangs. Then straighten, not rigid, not tense, simply aligned, like a tree rooted, flexible, alive. Walk with intention. Let your feet touch the ground with awareness. Let your eyes soften but stay clear. Let your breath move through the center of your body like a steady river. Posture is a daily ceremony, a way to return to yourself without words. When confusion rises, correct the body first. The mind often follows. Stand as you wish to think, move as you wish to live. Let the outside mirror the inside. Calm, ordered, and strong. Pain is not the enemy, it's a messenger. In the early years of temple training, the legs ache before the mind understands. Hours of horse stance, days without comfort, no shortcuts, no escape. The body trembles, the breath tightens, and still you stay. Not because you enjoy the suffering, but because you begin to see what it reveals. Every challenge is a weight, and like lifting stone, it tears you a little at first. But if you carry it mindfully, it builds something deeper than muscle. It builds presence. You learn where your limits are and where they were only illusions. Modern life teaches us to avoid pain, distract, numb, move on. But the ancient path is different. It asks you to feel the heat without fleeing, to sit with the discomfort, to watch it without judgment. Because pain has layers, the surface stings, but beneath it there is wisdom about what matters, what's unfinished, what needs to be let go. There's a phrase whispered in long silence: let it shape you, but do not let it shatter you. That's the heart of it. Endurance is not about being tough, it's about staying open. Not hardening your heart, but widening your spirit. You don't need to like the pain, but you can let it teach you. A cracked stone is not ruined. It shows the force it endured, and still it stands. So when life brings you pressure, don't rush to escape. Don't label it unfair. Step into it. Breathe inside it. Move slowly. Let it test you and reveal the deeper self that only hardship can uncover. This is how strength is born. Not in ease, but in what you choose to carry and how you carry it. An empty bowl can feed many. A full one, nothing more can enter. This is one of the first paradoxes taught in Taoist thought. Usefulness doesn't come from what something holds, but from what it leaves open. Emptiness is not absence, it's potential. In the temple, we are taught to clean not just the room, but the mind, to release what's extra. Not out of minimalism or aesthetic, but because clutter, both physical and mental, dulls perception. It fogs the mirror, and when the mirror is fogged, you forget who you are. Complexity is heavy. Too many opinions, too many wants, too many plans, all of it bends your spine. But simplicity makes you light, agile, quiet enough to hear the subtle direction life offers. You'll notice it in the ones who've trained deeply. They don't speak more than necessary. They don't rush. Their spaces are bare but full of presence. Nothing wasted, nothing forced. This doesn't mean you detach from life or live in retreat. It means you walk through life without being tangled by it. You carry less, so you move better. You need less, so you see more. The quiet room where no sound pulls your mind is not empty. It's alive with stillness. And in that stillness, something ancient rises. A sense that nothing needs to be added, that what is already here is enough. Freedom isn't found in gaining more, it's found in needing less. Let go of what's rotting in the corners of your spirit. The grudges, the fears, the imagined futures. Make space inside, not so it stays empty, but so something sacred can enter. Stay simple, stay light. The path reveals itself to those who stop grasping. The monk does not walk to get somewhere, he walks to walk. Each footstep is a practice, Each breath a prayer. There is no finish line, only presence. In modern life, rushing has become normal. People eat fast, speak fast, think fast, even suffer fast, as if the only thing that matters is what comes next. But on the ancient path, we are taught the opposite: slow down. Not because there is no urgency, but because truth is only found in stillness. There's a saying in Zen: when walking, just walk. That's it. So simple, it's easy to miss. But what it means is this: do not split yourself. Do not walk while thinking of tomorrow. Do not speak while planning your next sentence. Do not live while waiting for a better life to begin. You don't need to hurry, you need to arrive. Arrive in the task, in the gesture, in the breath. Let your mind catch up to your body. Let your spirit catch up to your life. Every step can hold weight if you give it your full attention. Every sip of tea, every movement of the hand, every pause in silence, it can all be complete if you're willing to be there for it. The future will unfold, whether you chase it or not, but presence must be chosen, moment by moment, day by day. You may find that everything you were rushing toward was already here. So walk slower, speak clearer, breathe deeper. This moment is not in the way of your life. It is your life. Don't just pass through, arrive. Blame is the first refuge of the untrained mind. It's easy to point outward at the world, at others, at timing, at fate. But the deeper part begins when you turn inward and say, this is mine to face. Not in shame, in strength. In the temple, we are not praised for perfection. We are trained in responsibility. If the form is sloppy, fix it. If the breath is shallow, deepen it. If the mind wanders, bring it back. No one else can do that for you. There's freedom in that. When you stop outsourcing your power, you start to own your energy. Your thoughts become intentional. Your speech gains weight. Your actions carry presence. The way you treat others begins with how you manage your own state. A scattered mind can't offer clarity. A bitter heart can't offer kindness. So the work begins inside, long before you speak a word. Guard your state like a flame in the wind. Don't let noise blow it out. Don't hand it to people who haven't earned your attention. Guide it like water through a channel. Let it move, but direct it toward purpose, and honor it like sacred ground. Your inner world is not a dumping place for resentment and fear. It's a temple. Keep it clean, keep it still. When you hold yourself accountable, not harshly but with clarity, you stop waiting for life to fix itself. You become the one who shapes it. That is the power no one can give you and no one can take. Blame delays growth, ownership accelerates it. Choose the harder path, it leads to peace. Peace doesn't just descend from the sky. It's not waiting behind the next achievement or hiding in some quiet place you haven't reached yet. Peace is built day by day, moment by moment, through what you choose to return to. In the monastery, peace is not a mood, it's a discipline. Every morning begins the same: silence, posture, breath, motion. Not because we expect instant serenity, but because we are carving a groove in the mind. Like water shaping stone, over time, the rhythm becomes natural. And in that rhythm, peace is found. People often search for stillness, like it's something to stumble upon. But the truth is, it's something you build. Through the things you repeat, through the choices you protect, through the noise you refuse to let in. It's easy to feel calm once in a while, but to stay calm in chaos, that comes from repetition. You sit again even when distracted. You move with control even when tired. You speak slowly even when angry. That's not personality, that's training. Mastery is not a moment of breakthrough, it's the discipline of return, over and over, without needing fireworks or applause. Even sweeping the floor becomes part of it, not just a chore but a practice. Move with attention, breathe with intention. This is how the ordinary becomes sacred. The world will always offer you reasons to speed up, to tense, to react. But your peace doesn't depend on the world, it depends on your rhythm, your rituals, your willingness to begin again and again and again. So today, choose your steps with care. Sit for one breath longer, speak one word less, move with just a little more awareness. That's where peace begins, not by accident, but by practice. The way isn't something far off, it's here in how you rise, how you breathe, how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. These 12 reminders are not meant to impress the world. They are meant to align you with it, quietly, steadily, one morning at a time. Let them guide your posture. Let them shape your focus. Let them return you to presence when your mind begins to drift. You don't have to master them all at once. Just begin. Practice one, then another. And soon, the rhythm of your days will begin to change. Peace grows where attention is given. Discipline deepens where you choose to stay consistent. And clarity rises from within, not from outside noise. So tomorrow, when you open your eyes, return to these truths. Carry them like silent companions. Let them remind you who you are and who you are becoming. Thank you for walking with us today. If this part speaks to you, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Until next time, stay steady, stay light, and keep returning to the way.